Good morning, everybody. Stu Smith here, going live. I know it is Wednesday, and we normally don't go live on Wednesday, but I'm playing a makeup day. So we have, usually we do this on Monday, go live about 9 o'clock ish. Tuesday's our CSS critique show. And instead, we're bumping it over to the right, getting it done anyway. And um, so we're doing it today. In fact, I had a similar conversation with someone the other day about like they're a little bit too perfectionist, right? And I admit I love pushing myself as well, but let's take a look at the week of training versus a day of training, because let's face it, some days you got to shift to the right. You can't do it because of life got in the way, you don't feel well, pool's closed. There's so many things that aren't working your way some days that you just have to bump things to the right. So at the end of the week, if you're, for instance, doing a program that has, here's week 5 of the ageless athlete workout, there's 6 days of workouts to do. Now, 2 of them are mobility days for the old guys like me, so they're not that hard, but um, they're tough enough. But if you can just bump everything to the right, do a makeup day here and there, when you need to, or just realize that 5 out of 6 is pretty darn good and move on. Um, that's another way to do it as well. And finally, the third option is to, who says a week's worth of training has to be done in 7 days, right? My workouts don't say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on them. They say day 1, day 2, day 3. So if it takes you 8 or 9 days to do 6 workouts, big deal. You threw in a couple of more rest days or other active recovery days, that's fine. At the end of a cycle of training, let's say a 6-week cycle of training, maybe it took you 7 or 8 weeks to do. But guess what? That's okay. You're still going to see the results. I promise you. So anyway, I originally had started to write this article about working around injuries, because we all get them. Sometimes we get bumps and bruises that occur. We get strains. This one question that I asked today in an Ask Stu article that's going up on military.com today was about a broken wrist, and he has a cast up to about just um, below the elbow. So what tends to happen when you wear a cast is the joint is going to get really stiff. These muscles are going to atrophy, which also control your grip. So you may have a really hard time holding on to a pull-up bar or grabbing a dumbbell afterwards. There's going to be some rebuilding of that area. Where people go wrong is they think, oh, I can't work out, I got a cast. Well, guess what? What else can you do? You can do cardio, you can do legs, you can work the other side of the body. You can work, if you broke your right hand, guess what? Left hand's fair game. Unilateral training actually scientifically will help you reduce atrophy in that disabled arm or wrist. So work your grip hard on the left hand, and you'll have less grip reduction on your right hand whenever you start training again. Science proves it over and over again. Unilateral training. That was my main answer to that one, but it was also part of, um, given other options to do. I think where most people go wrong with an injury is they neglect everything versus figuring out ways to work around it and even through it. And unilateral training is one really great way to do it. I've had it a few times where I had an elbow injury, had a knee injury, but I still worked the other leg. I couldn't quite do leg days as well. I could still do RDLs. Couldn't do a deadlift or a squat, but I could do RDLs. So, you could actually work things um, that help prevent atrophy in that area. So anyway, that's what that article's about. Work around injuries as well as unilateral training to reduce atrophy when you start up. So check out the article. It'll be up on military.com later. I did put a little bit of it into the description of this video up on YouTube. So later on, for you guys over on Instagram or Facebook, you guys can come over to the YouTube channel. Check out that these videos stay up there forever, whereas they don't tend to do that up on Instagram unless I'm saving bits and pieces of them. All right, let's take a few questions and then I'll show a few videos on the CSS. I don't have many, but I have some that should be pretty effective in explaining what we're doing. All right, so Jason says, finally got some snow around us. Do you have any tips on running in the cold weather? Anything different I should be doing? Yeah, mainly layering. We haven't gotten snow yet, but it's getting cold. I mean, I think our days are in the 20s, or 6 a.m. are in the 20s now, probably for the rest of the week, which kind of suck, but you do what you can do. The main thing is if you're outside running, you just stay moving. And if you wind up doing some calisthenics out there too, just know that your rest should be a run. So you do a set of calisthenics or dumbbells or weights or whatever, and then instead of just standing around recovering, actually make it an active rest and get some running. So in fact, whenever we lift outside in the winter as well. And our rest is all active rest for that reason. And I would say most of our miles that we get in the winter are like 2 to 3 minute quarter-mile runs just to stay warm. So it's some people go a little faster and get it in a minute and a half, like they're doing gold pace running. Some people just zone to it and nice easy jogs just to stay warm. It does help tremendously. But layering, gloves, hood, something that's helped me in the past whenever it's really windy and I'm outside running, creating my own wind chill, is wear a mask. And I usually put it just under my nose. One, that forces me to nose breathe. And then when I exhale through my mouth, the whole face gets warm. And that feels pretty good. So that's what we do. Layers. Sometimes I wear a couple sweatshirts, one with a hood, one with a watch cap. If it's raining, I'll wear a baseball cap just to keep the water out of my face. Yeah. I tell you, man, running out in the cold will make you hard. Every step I take running when the weather's crappy and it's just cold, I just feel like I'm getting tougher. I'm not quite there yet. I'm still in the late summer, early fall mode. So these days in the 20s are a little bit more challenging than normal. But I'd say by late December, January, when it's 30, it'll feel like a heat wave because we'll be so used to, working out in the low 20s, maybe even teens some days. Let's see. Varux asks a question. I'm getting the stroke down, but I get too out of breath with pullouts for over 50. Yeah, you need to read my article to pull out or not, because that is one of the reasons why you may just want to take it out, because it does require another layer of conditioning. Because think about what you're doing when you do a pullout. You kick off underwater, you hold your breath probably 4 or 5 seconds easy. You do a double arm pull. Now you're holding your breath for another 3 seconds. So you got 8 to 10 seconds there where you're holding your breath every wall, which is not easy to do later in the swim. You know, and then you start a stroke. And if you have a hard time getting out of that um, breaststroke pullout, sometimes you'll stop and you'll lose all your momentum. That's another reason why you should take it out. But if you're not conditioned for it, you have a choice. You either get conditioned for it or take it out, because here's the deal. You get an extra breath with every length if you don't do a breaststroke pullout. Look, I've been coaching breaststroke pullouts for years, and I think I like them. I do them myself. I coach them. However, there are some people I say, you know what? It's not worth it because one, you're not good at transitioning out of it into the stroke. And two, there's another layer of conditioning, and you may not have time enough to do that depending on where you are in your training and testing. Um, but yeah, that's how we do it. And my advice is take it out and see how you feel. So kick off the wall long as you can till you feel yourself slow down, and your first move is going to be a top arm pull and turn to breathe, just like you're doing freestyle. Don't do flutter kicks off the wall. Just kick, hold the glide, turn and breathe. That's your first stroke. One, you get an extra breath. It's going to help you with your 500 significantly. And usually the people that do really well with the breaststroke pullout are swimmers, obviously, but people who have been swimming a little bit longer and now they've got a little more conditioning that they can add that efficiency measure to it. But you know, you need to look up to pull out or not, Stu Smith, and it has nothing to do with what it sounds like. It's all about swimming. Um, fact, I'll even do the work for you. Check out this article here. And my advice is try a few swim workouts and 500s without it and see what you think. Telling you, I've seen guys drop 40 seconds just by taking out the pullout because they were horrible at the pullout. Whenever that double arm pull every kick. And half of them couldn't do it anymore because they were deconditioned to do it about halfway through the swim. So that was another reason to take it out. So there's all my tips. Does that make sense for you? When you went to Buds, did you go to boot camp with other SEAL candidates, or was it a normal boot camp cycle? I didn't go to boot camp. I went to the Naval Academy. So boot camps and Naval Academy are different processes of getting into the Navy. Um, Naval Academy has its own little boot camp we call plebe year, plebe summer. Um, and yeah, you went through boot camp with all types of people who wanted to serve in the Navy, and you still do. So I'm not sure why that's even an issue, but yeah. How often should I be doing cold exposure? I don't know. I mean, in the winter, you're going to get exposed to cold every day. So why does it matter if you don't do it every day? I just wouldn't do it for too long. Like some of the science behind cold water exposure is say just stay for 2 minutes. You don't need to be 10 or 20 minutes till you're shaking. You get all the physiological benefits from it in 2 minutes. Now, I would say this there are some science data out there that um, says if you're trying to gain muscle and put on mass, it's not the best thing to do, especially after a workout, because it will interfere with the way your muscles take in protein. Um, but if you're doing a lot of workouts and you need to cool your body temperature, cold water is great. In fact, I may step into it after this live just to do it. Something I've been doing is I have a kind of like a cheap uh, tub in the back. You know, it's just one of those animal trough type things. So I'll fill it up with water. Um, It's not that big, so it doesn't takes like 10 minutes to fill it up. And then just jump in, and I wind up taking my shampoo and razor out there. So I'm out there shaving, sitting in it, shampoo my hair. So I take a full out bath in there. Um, my whole family laughs when I do that, but it's efficient. And I wind up staying in there like 3 or 4 minutes, and it's pretty chilly right now, and it's just groundwater. I'm not putting ice in it. It's the little temperature gauge says it's like 52, which if you're trying to do cold water exposure for SEAL training, the water never gets below 50. So usually it's never below like 55. Some years it is. Um, with global warming and oceans, whatever they're doing these days, it might even be a little bit warmer than that, like 58. But it's still cold, and you should get used to it. I think a cold shower, cold bath in the bathtub would do the same trick, because groundwater is usually in the 50s. Sometimes I'll fill it up overnight, and I know it's going to be in the 30s overnight, so I'll go in. It's a little bit colder, so you can do it that way as well. Anyway, you can do some freestyle critique swim videos today. Um, I don't know if I have any, to be honest with you. Send me some. My advice is this: if you want to send me some freestyle critiques, send them. I'll critique them. I'm not the best freestyle coach. There are many, many more that are better, because it's a competitive swimming stroke, so all swim coaches know it. Not everybody knows the CSS. And when a usually a swim coach looks at it, they're like, "What is that? That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen." I walk away, because I don't even feel like explaining it to them. But anyway, that's what the military uses, so that's what I teach. And I say, hey, educate yourself on some more swimming, and learn what the combat swimmer stroke is. You know, not all swimming is swimming in a speedo looking at a black line all day. And then I giggle. Morning Stew, is rucking with a weight vest equivalent to rucking with a rucksack? No, it is not. I've been rucking with my 60-pound vest, but curious if that carries over. Oh, it definitely carries over. I mean, you're getting stronger because you are working out with weight on you, but the distribution is different. When you have a weight vest that balances perfectly with your torso, you have 30 pounds up front, 30 pounds in the back. It's a lot different than having 60 pounds in the back and zero up front. That's why a lot of times, whenever you have an opportunity to grab somebody else's ruck or any part of their kit and you put it around the front side of it, it actually feels better, even though it's heavier. You might have 80 pounds, but it's distributed better. So that's the only problem. It's distribution. You'll notice your posture whenever you have all of the weight in the back versus all the weight evenly distributed front and back. I read some of that article. It was great. I think you're talking about the pullout. Sent me over DMs. I was just stuck on how to do it without the pullout. Yeah, don't do it. I mean, try it without. It's just like freestyle. So you kick off the wall, but instead of adding those floater kicks, just hold the glide. It's free distance. No need to waste any energy. Kick off the wall, super streamlined, and your first move is going to be top arm pull, turn your face to breathe, and then start to stroke. And I've got a bunch of people um, on the videos that are starting to do that now, and you can see how they transition out of it. A couple of videos on the to pull out or not, theme are also found on YouTube Shorts and Instagram as well. Is there any steel marshmallows like Travis Lively in your class? Oh yeah. I mean, we seals come in all shapes and sizes. We had one dude that was like 5'10", 140 pounds, super skinny. I didn't have an ounce of fat on him and hardly any muscle. He was more bone than muscle. Then we had a dude that was 5'8", 200 and jacked and got a little extra bulk on him. Um, made it through. So everybody's a little bit different. Some guys are better runners, some guys are better swimmers, some guys are better load carriers, but everybody has a weakness. That's the beauty of the training. What temp do they put on wetsuits? Oh, good question. I mean, I think we had wetsuits in the 60s, 65. I think we had one wetsuit day where they said, "Yeah, you don't need wetsuits." It was like 69, 70. What was your favorite school class you took as a SEAL? Free fall, dive, jump, shooting. Shooting schools were really cool. Anytime you get a shooting school, go take it. There may be civilians up there, maybe former military teaching. It doesn't matter. Just go learn some really cool skills on shooting. Always liked those. They were easy, but they were very. You had to really think through them. Um, I tell you, I had a lot of fun with a MAROPS training we did, where we would um, do navigation and dead reckoning, no satellite GPS, nothing like that. And you had to get from A to B, learn how to manage all the boats, motors. So you had a little school on engine repair and engine maintenance for those outboards. So I like those a lot. Shooting and MAROPS for sure. Though learning to drive a mini sub was kind of fun too. It was cold, but it was fun. How many yards would you recommend putting in weekly for someone preparing for Coast Guard Rescue Swimmer School? Good question. I would say 2,000 a day, 2,000 to 3,000 a day. So you're somewhere in that 10,000 to 15,000 yard zone each week. If you get 5 swims, you're somewhere between 10 and 12, 10 and 15. You're going to be swimming 2 times a day. So for many hours. So you definitely want to get used to multiple swims and time in the pool. I know you guys always say take the right guys, not the best guys, but how often do people pass physical standards, not quit, but get cut due to personality? I mean, I guess it's happened before. I mean, there's some subjective parts to training that you really can't control. Best thing is don't be a dick. That's probably the number one piece of advice. Don't be the guy that is constantly telling people they don't belong there while you're a student as well. If you're an instructor, that's your job, getting in people's heads. But fellow students don't need to be doing that to other people. I never liked that. It was almost like a little bully thing that would just piss me off, and I wouldn't like the guys that were doing that. I almost didn't trust them. You imagine being that guy. They're trying to run out. The guy doesn't quit, and he says, "Screw this! So you're not going to run me out of the boat." That's what you say, and you got to start performing better because there's a reason why they're wanting to drive you out. Um, Even if you have to fight, nothing wrong with that either. Sometimes it comes to that, and it's a shame that it does. But um, yeah, imagine having to work with that guy later on. You made it through, and your reputation now starts that you just run people out of the boat, and that guy hates you for the rest of your career. You're gonna have this dude hating you because you're a dick. So um, it's not the student's job to pick who's the right guy. Really isn't. It happens, but I don't like it when it does. All right, let's do one more question. Why do pool deck PT instead of doing swim sets in the morning and cows in the evening? Oh, well, it's up to you. I mean, some people can't do pool deck PT because, if they get out of their lane, they're going to lose their lane. I mean, I don't know, but a lot of military training programs have pool deck PT built into them. So why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you do push-ups and flutter kicks and fill your mask up and lay on the back and do sit-ups and bear crawls and all that? I mean, you're going to do it again. I don't make this stuff up because hey, I like doing swim PT. It's because you're going to do it. I'm glad you like these IG lives. I appreciate it. All right. So I do have a couple of videos that I want to show. It's going to take me a minute to pull it up. Had one come in this morning. Let me see if I can pull it up again. Might take just a second. Let me turn this volume off. All right. This was an interesting one because I don't really see many of these. This is kind of one of those, the stroke timing is fine, but the arms and the breathing is what's jacking this up. So let me share my screen here. Where are you? Okay. All right. So here we go. Let's bring this back to here. So you got a good kick off the wall. That looks solid. I like that. But that top arm, you see that top arm? I call this a multi-directional top arm pull because what's happening here when you're pulling? Are you even pulling water like this way? You're pulling water this way, right? Whenever you go, whoop, it's like this, like you're doing a jumping jack. You don't want to do a jumping jack. You want to do the same motion and power it takes to do a muscle up almost, but you're grabbing water way over your head with your forearm and arm, not just with your shoulder doing this. Like you should feel your lat getting involved with that pull down. This is just all these little small muscles of the shoulder pulling this one. And you can see it's nothing. And that bottom one does the same thing. Top arm, bottom arm, kick, need to glide longer. See that head popping up? What's happening here? Notice what? When your head pops up, both ears, like that, what happened to his feet? Let's do it again. Boom. Ah, man, I had it. All right, so when both hands pop up, or when your head pops up, both feet drop. So your body's acting like a seesaw every stroke. So now you're plowing water whenever you're in that position versus turning to breathe, spearing water like a torpedo. And then this glide is a good streamlined body position. I like that, but I can't even stop it. I mean, you're going right into the next stroke right there. I mean, that's good, but you need to hold this for like 2, 3 seconds just to make this a little more efficient. That top arm, bottom arm's too big, needs to look more like a breaststroke skull. That top arm is just omnidirectional. Like you're creating force vectors that go every direction versus one. You need to be creating force vectors that go straight behind you so you go that way. Yeah, that bottom arm needs to be shorter, needs to look more like a freestyle catch. But overall, timing's good. Timing's not bad. Um, I would say you know the stroke timing, but you got to fine tune the top arm, bottom arm breathing process. My advice is this: practice freestyle. Learn the freestyle catch and turning to breathe the freestyle because this turning to breathe is the exact same when you do freestyle or CSS. The only difference is instead of coming back and doing a overhand recovery and another pull, is you're going to top arm turn, bottom arm breathe, kick and glide to it. But the first 25% of that stroke is identical. So not bad. I like that one. I think I might have had another one up on Instagram. Let me see. Somebody sent me a few videos, I think. I didn't prepare very well. Let's see. Nope, it's not the same guy. Okay. So let me share this one. All right. So there's a lot going on here right from the start. So kicks off the wall. Notice this kick. See those feet coming up? Yeah, you don't want to do that dolphin kick and make that big of a splash. Now, the thing here is top arm, bottom arm looks good. Top arm turn, bottom arm breathe. That looks really good. But what else do you notice? Do you notice something that's going on with his legs? Top arm, bottom arm kick, kick again. So he's got a double kick going on. So basically, he just doubled his effort by kicking twice per stroke, because all these big leg muscles right here are going to get really tired, probably with a double kick. Once again, you're kicking twice as much as everybody else around you, and your legs are going to be tired for the CSS or for the 1.5 mile run. Let me kick off this wall again. Good kickoff. Double arm pull looks good. Transitions into the stroke nicely. So you're a good candidate to keep it. Top arm, bottom arm, kick and glide. You got a good top arm, good turn and breathe, but you just got that kick. You got a kick there, kick there, kick there, kick there. You got like almost like 3 kicks. Got a little flutter kick. You got a flutter kick and um, two scissor kicks per stroke, which is way too much. Question Gary asks, do you look straight down at the bottom of the pool for the CSS? It depends. Not the entire time. CSS is a side stroke. So you're going to be looking to the wall for a good part of this stroke, technically, especially with fins on, because you got these big scissor kicks. You want to just stay on your side the whole time. So with fins, yes, you're going to be looking sideways, the wall, the whole time versus the bottom. Now you have a choice without fins. When you kick off that wall, you're facing the bottom. You're going to come up, turn your breathe. Now it's your choice. Whenever you kick and recover, do you want to stay on your side, or do you want to rotate a little bit to get that next arm pull in, like a freestyle catch versus skimming the surface with it? So I tend to do this: is I kick off the wall on my belly, I turn to breathe, and then instead of staying on my side for the next stroke, I kick and then rotate over just a little bit. I'm usually about a 45-degree angle, and then do the next arm pull. That's how I do it. And just kind of, I do during the glide, I rotate over just a little bit. And I just find I get a better arm pull when I feel like I'm doing a freestyle catch with it versus just this sweeping side stroke that a lot of people tend to do, like our first swimmer did. Oh, let's see. Is that what swimming like a banana means? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Swimming like a banana means this. Means like instead of being straight in the water, you're like this. So let me just show you. So normally, whenever you swim, you have a streamlined body position like this, right? My biceps are on my ears, my arms are straight above my head, looking like a torpedo. If you swim like a banana, it means your shoulders are tight, and now you're swimming like this. Every stroke you do when you're in this glide here, you're going to veer to the right, veer to the right. Or when you kick off the bottom and you're doing that same thing, you're just going to go deep. Like a submarine, dive plane is just taking you straight down if you're on your belly, or to the right when you're on your right side, or left if you're on your left side. Swimming like a banana means you're not swimming straight during the glide position. You should be locked in. There's a couple of really good videos up on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube of guys who have locked on streamlined body positions. If you have a weak scissor kick, is it effective to do a breaststroke frog kick and then a big dolphin kick and glide? If you don't like the scissor kick, then by all means, you need to develop your scissor kick, because that's how you're going to do constant flutter kicks with fins on. Now, yes, could you do dolphin kicks? You could, but I've never found those to be super effective. Some guys are good at it. I just never was. So my advice is this: time yourself. Do this with fins and without fins. Time yourself in a 250 3 different times. So your workout's going to be a scissor kick 250. It's going to be a breaststroke kick, dolphin kick 250, and it's going to be a swim with fins 250, and just see where you are. I guess you could do the 250 with a, instead of a constant flutter kicks like you're supposed to do, you could try the dolphin kick version, because you're not going to do a breaststroke with fins, but you can do a dolphin kick with fins. Try all 4. So it's 1,000-yard workout. You're going to see which one you like better, which one works better for you. Time it. See how you feel. Take a little rest in between each so you're kind of fresh, and see which one works best for you. That's what I would do. Otherwise, you're just guessing. When swimming, should I tuck my chin down when I swim? Yeah. Well, the last thing you want to do is glide like this with your head up. So put that head down, biceps on your ears, keep your chin down. That's how you glide. Also, when I'm doing underwaters and trying to get the most out of my glide, why is my head floating up slightly? I don't know. I don't know what you're asking there, but keep your head down. If your body is floating up when you're swimming underwater, it means your body fat percentage is pulling you to the surface. You are positively buoyant. There's 3 things to be in the water. You're either positive, neutral, or negative. Negative means you're going to sink even when you're holding your breath. Positive means you're going to float, holding your breath or not. And neutral is usually that perfect somewhere in the middle. You got a good amount of body fat, you got a good amount of muscle to balance it out, and you're just neutral. So whenever you breathe in, you float. Whenever you exhale, you sink. That is neutrally buoyant. I personally prefer to be neutrally buoyant than positive or negative. Positive means you're just over fat. Neutrally buoyant means you're too lean. Probably need to put on a little fat. That's going to help you with a bunch of other things too, like being warm whenever you are sitting in the cold water. So there you go. If you're floating and treading is easy, you're not treading, you're floating. I've had a few people who were like laughing because everybody was having a hard time treading because they're all super lean, 6-packs, jacked, bunch of muscle. They're like, look like they're drowning. And this one dude's almost making fun of them. And I was like, dude, you're not treading. You're floating. Here, try this 5-pounder. Let's see how treading feels. And he started sinking because he couldn't hold the 5-pounder up. So I said, you need to learn how to tread and lose some weight, because bobbing is going to be really hard. Let's see what else we got. Looks like I answered all those questions. All right. So here's the deal. I'm going to do another live during the week, and I'm going to put it on my new school platform. In fact, if you don't know what that is, school is spelled SKOOL, and It's really cool. I mean, I prefer this, to be honest with you. It has everything I need. I can do some really cool things with it. I can go live. I can share courses. I can share videos. It's just a ton of interesting, um, just a cool platform, and it's a closed community. So I invite you in. It's free. It's a web board there. I'm posting articles, videos, and doing lives over there now. I'm not going to stop doing lives over here, but it's going to be a little bit different over there. You'll see. But consider it. It's a real easy skool.com. Check that out. I'm looking forward to growing this channel. It does allow me to have a store right there as well, so you can download workouts, you can get courses and other videos that are over there as well. So it's actually quite useful. All right, folks. I guess that's it. If you guys, if I missed any questions, just email me, stu@stewsmith.com. Send me some videos if you wanted me to check out your freestyle, your CSS, your swim with fins, whether you're doing a scissor kick or a dolphin kick or a bunch of flutter kicks. Send it to me. I'll tell you, and we'll assess it right there. You do a 50, all three ways. Let's see which one's better, which one's less time consuming, which one's less energy consuming. Because you don't want to burn out a bunch of energy while you're swimming. Because if you're doing the PST, you have 4 other events that you have to be ready for. All right, guys, that's it for me. I will probably go live again this week, either on Thursday or Friday over on school. And the neat thing about that too is you'll get a notification from me when I'm going live. So you can't beat that. All right, guys, I will chat with you later. You guys have a good one.